All right, short video here. Tools and systems that you should use with an ISA. So if you're going with our Elite Virtual Office team plan, remember that would be if you're using 2 or 4 hours a day of ISA service. If you're going 4, you should really go direct placement. But if you have a limited number of leads, let's say under 150 leads a month, you might want to go with our team plan. You're still going to need a dialer. Okay, so let me talk to you guys about dialers here really quickly because you need a dialer on all plans. Dialers, you really have dialers broken out down into two categories. You have just your standard voice over IP, copy paste, or click to call type of dialer. It's methodical, but it's not fast. Okay. Or you have power dialers. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown of the pros and cons of a power dialer. So pros. They go through a lot of numbers really fast. You can get a single line dialer, a triple line dialer, which means that it's dialing 3 numbers at the same time. And whoever connects first, the other 2 drop, and it ties straight into the ISA's phone system. Single line is it's only dialing 1 number at a time, but as soon as they hang up, it just automatically dials the next number and they don't have to go find that person or anything. So power dialers are pretty good. There are dialers that go up to 10 lines at a time. I don't like them. Most I would do is a triple line. If I'm using a power dialer, I really prefer single line. It's a little bit slower, 55, 60, 65 calls an hour. But just more control over the system. You're not dropping people. If 2 people answer at the same time on a triple line dialer, one of them is going to get dropped and you might not get them back on the phone. So I don't love the triple line dialers. Negatives for a dialer. If you have complex lead lists, so let's say you have a probate lead list or a circle prospecting, and the lead file is 123 Main Street or the estate of John Doe, and then there's 3 or 4, even just 2 contacts with that lead. It's really hard to load those in and map them into your dialer. Each contact needs to be loaded separately, and that can be a pain. This is one of the reasons why, unless I have each lead with only 1 contact, I prefer to use the slower, more methodical voice over IP system approach. So voice over IP numbers are just digital phone numbers. It comes with an app. It pops up on your screen. The app on your screen looks like the screen of a phone, and you just punch the number in. So you can either copy paste from your lead list, your CRM, and put it in, or you can manually dial it in. Some dialers, such as aircall.io is something that I really like, actually has a click to call feature. So whatever CRM or web page you're on, all the phone numbers turn clickable. And instead of copying, pasting, or manually, they click the phone number and it dials automatically. So I like going with that. The biggest reason that I prefer those versus power dialers is because on a power dialer, you've got latency on the other line. Not always. Some are really good. Systems like Vulcan 7, Mojo Cells, and RedX, those are really good. I haven't picked up a lot of latency on those 3 tools. Latency is when the prospect answers and has to say hello 4 times before the phone actually connects. And then they hear that little bleep sound, and now all of a sudden they're connected. That's a conversation killer right there. They know that they don't know the person. So those are power dialers. Where voice over IP, you just don't have that. They know who they're calling as they put the number in. Another thing with power dialers is sometimes they don't know who they're calling. The screen pops up, they hear the voice come across their headset saying hello, and then all of a sudden at the exact same time the name pops up, and if it's a complicated name, they might have trouble with it. So that's another reason that I prefer voice over IP. However, it does slow your calls by about half. So a power dialer, you can call about 60 numbers an hour. Ballpark, some people do 50, some people do 70. Voice over IP, it's about 30 calls an hour. Ballpark. Some people do 25, some people do 40. But voice over IP, copy and paste, or even click to call, 30, 35 calls an hour is pretty average. So the choice is yours. Do you want to go with a power dialer and get through more numbers faster? Or do you want to go with voice over IP and be a little more methodical and lose some of those potential negatives? So on any of our systems, you're going to need a power dialer. Down in the description, we're going to list off the power dialers that we like. and let you go check those out. They're not too complicated to set up. You just have to pick the one that fits your budget and your desires. Okay. Next, systems. If you are using Evo for your payroll and time tracking system, you don't need this. But if you're doing your own payroll and time tracking, I recommend a tool called Hubstaff. Hubstaff screenshots the ISA's screen as they're working, make sure that they're not goofing off, not watching anything that they shouldn't be watching, that they're working. It also tracks their efficiency rating. So their efficiency is their time on their keyboard or on their mouse. So efficiency, if there's activity on their screen or on their computer, it shows as efficiency. Now, if they're on the phone and they're not moving their mouse around or typing, then it's going to show as idle time. Not a problem. You want that efficiency to be somewhere between 20 and 40%. If it's 100%, it's too much. If it's 80%, it's too much. If it's 2%, it's too little. So 20 to 40% efficiency is what you're looking for with Hubstaff if you carry your own Hubstaff system. We carry it if we're doing your payroll and your time tracking with us. Payroll, I recommend, especially if your ISA is offshore, which most people go with offshore ISAs, I recommend Wise Transfer, Remitly, Payoneer. These are 3 good payroll systems, but it can be a pain in the butt tracking time and remembering to pay and doing credit card fees and having to do an international transfer fee and things like that. It's not the end of the world. I've done it many, many times, but I'll tell you, just getting all that stuff set up and making sure that you remember to do everything and that you're covering your 3% credit card fee and that you're covering your and they have limits as well. So they actually stop you if you've spent too much money in a year. I've run into that a few times. So a couple of different things. We have our own payroll management system. So if you want to use our time tracking and payroll management, it's $149 a month, approximately, if you're hiring a tier 3 or tier 4 ISA. If you're going lower than that or higher than that, that $149 could change just a little bit based on what our processing fees might be. But $149 a month if you want us to track that. Other tools and systems and resources that you might have. Communication. If you're giving them a voice over IP phone number and phone, they can communicate with you through text, over the phone. You probably want to have Zoom meetings once every day or once every week. Once a week is fine. You could use WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. Just find a way that you can communicate with your ISA on a weekly basis. When I have ISAs, I like to communicate with them for a couple of minutes at least every day. Not everybody wants to do that, so at least do it weekly. And that goes for our team plan, direct placement plan, whatever you go for. Try to communicate with your ISA pretty often. Okay. And those are the tools that you're going to want to look at. No other significant tools that you really need to consider. Next video, I want to show you a little bit about what you should expect from an ISA and what your involvement is going to be in the prospecting. Talk to you then.